YouTube, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host TKK and we are back with another video. We are going to have timestamps in this video, so please utilize them. Hair's looking a little crazy because I had some issues. I'm going to just start this video out with telling you guys I just got out of the hospital. I had some personal issues, medical issues that I had to address. And let me just say that, I woke up the other day, Thursday to be specific, wasn't feeling well, and I took myself to the hospital. So I'm just going to put this out here for anybody that happens to see this video. If you're in a place where you can afford decent insurance, I do have great insurance. I do work for a living outside of doing YouTube. This is the dream, but I do work to take care of my family, a 9 to 5, just like most of us do. Put yourself in a position where you can get yourself taken care of. With that being said, this video is going to come by way of a content creator that makes content similar to mine. This is going to be from Michelle Alexandria. Thank you so much. If I pronounced it wrong, forgive me. But, thank you for making content and leaving a comment to tell me that you made the content that pretty much is going to, tie into the first segment of this video, which is updating the S95C. Now, she has the S95C, or at least had the TV, and had similar issues with the TV that kind of tie into the previous two uploads that I've made. We'll discuss those a little bit within this video. However, what you can expect out of this is for us to go down the rabbit hole of talking about some of the changes that might have occurred with the newest update for this TV. And then from there, we're going to spearhead to just me offering you a realistic discussion time about the S95B, which was the last year qd-oled. There's a lot of people talking about this TV now and so forth. So use the timestamps down below, leave some comments, let's have some engagement, and we're going to get it going right after this intro. All right, so here's my S95C in all of its glory. This is a center mass sweet spot. You're looking at it. I got it surrounded by clips audio for a great immersive experience. When I want to watch content, I can listen to content and it's going to sound good. I'm going to go ahead and get this TV turned on so we can check the firmware that I currently have, and then we'll update it to, the most available option that Samsung themselves have made available for us. And then we're really going to just focus on the specific issues that I talked about with the TV, that we're going to cover within this. And at some point later, we'll talk about some other adjustments, things that might have changed, gotten worse, gotten better. And we'll do that right on this channel. So make sure you guys are subscribed. And if you like the video thus far, hit like, leave a comment. Let's talk about this subject. So let's go ahead and get this thing powered on. All right, now I've had the TV connected actually to the internet. I'm going to not turn on auto update. And the hope here is that, not turning this on will put me in a position where I can control and monitor updates. Now, if you guys kind of don't have an understanding why there may be a widespread from content creators talking about Samsung, pushing updates, things like that. I don't really think any of what happened with the S95B was such a, intentionally bad thing. And the second part of this video is going to be talking about the S95B. It's just that, this put us in such a position where that TV last year put us in a position where, the initial product you got was like the best version of that product, which is not what you get if you buy it today. And they've changed a lot of things for the better, but the potential updates without you having to go through service menus and things like that, which are not going to be recommended, especially if you're going to be counting on their manufacturer warranty. So I'm going to go ahead and get this thing updated. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and update. So I got to agree to whatever they want me to agree to. And I'll go through this and we'll be right back. Yeah, so automatically when you agree to everything, the first thing that I had to toggle away was the auto update. This was automatically hit, so I'm going to see if we can go ahead and do this again, check for updates. I don't want auto on there because I, just don't want that. So as you can see right now, what we've got is 1100, and the version that we're going to be going to is going to be 1205. Now I was told that this update actually came out today. So this is, some timely content. So let's go ahead and update this thing. All right, so the first and real major thing that I just want to see if it got addressed within this update is going to be what I covered in prior upload. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to kind of advertise that video and encourage you to watch it so that you can understand exactly what has happened, because at this point, I don't know if it's been fixed or not. So let me just kind of explain to you. Well, right now, what we've got is we've got an Apple TV 4K 2022 late model, and I'm binge watching some content on my Plex server, right? So I'm watching the show You, and by the way, I'm enjoying this show. I'm not sure if this is a critically acclaimed show or not, or series, but it's pretty good content. I like it. I like Dexter a lot, and I digress. It's a good show for me. So I'm on season 2, episode 10. Now, what I'm going to attempt to do is I'm going to attempt to turn on my PC, which is connected to this television. And we're going to see if I have any type of issues with switching the port over from this input on the TV for the Apple TV to the next input on the TV for the gaming PC. All right, so I've got the gaming PC turned on the second input, and while it's not showing, I'm gonna go ahead and log into it. I preset it so that high dynamic range, variable refresh rate, and everything that I would want turned on to it would be turned on. So at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and switch the inputs. We're gonna go to PC, let the TV think. We'll see if we have any issues. Okay. Well, no issues there. The HDMI just blacked out there instantly, randomly. That is a problem that this TV has on the NVIDIA side of things. Let me get to the NVIDIA control panel so we can take a look at a couple of options here. So for G-Sync, we do have that turned on. It is enabled also for windowed and full screen mode. And it is enabled specifically for the display, even though, as you can see, Windows tells us that this display is not validated as G-Sync compatible. So we do have that turned on. Let's go take a look at resolution. All right, so with the resolution, we do have, looks like we've got both options. TV, again, when you go to TV, you're gonna be capped at 60 Hertz all the way down to 23 Hertz. We go down to the PC side of it. The native 4K gives us 100 Hertz, 120 Hertz, and 144 Hertz. Also looks like we have access to QHD at all three too. So this is pretty impressive. This is another part, which I will test this within this video in the next transition. You know, we had issues with this. The QHD was not working. So looks like this might have fixed some things. We'll apply this. Now, one thing that caught my eye when this TV changed over, and we'll pull up the game optimization bar. We'll hold play and pause. Yeah, we've got it on. VRR is turned on. So we've got VRR on, we've got high dynamic range on, and we've got 144 Hertz. So this update 12.05 has definitely fixed it. Again, if you don't understand what the problem was, you need to see the video I uploaded prior, or you need to check out her video. So let's test QHD for a video game. All right, so this is Shadow of the Tomb Raider. This is the latest out of the reboot trilogy of the Tomb Raider series, and something that I used to cover in my prior two uploads where I talked about my issues with this TV. So in live time, we're going to check this to see if the QHD is working. Before I even do this, I need to explain to you guys one thing when you have to do when you're watching this video or any video from any reviewer. Understand that everyone's setup is not going to be the same. So my 77-inch TV is about 15 feet from where you're sitting right now, okay? My setup is designed for me and my family to be able to enjoy this space. It's not a selfish setup where it's just for me, which is why my seat isn't like 9 feet or 8 feet from it. I just wouldn't be able to have the seating that I need to have to get so my kids can, you know, enjoy it. With that being said, QHD not working at 144 Hertz make this TV an issue in prior updates. We're gonna see if it's working here. The reason why QHD is very important is because if you're a PC gamer and if you want the maximum textures turned on, you want to get the lowest latency, you need the highest refresh rate, which is 144, it should be an option. Playing in 4K is going to be more taxing to a graphics card than playing in QHD. QHD is 2560 by 1440, and it looks pretty darn good on this TV at the distance that I'm sitting in the sweet spot. 4K obviously looks better, but because I'm not sitting like, 8 feet, 7 feet, dare I say 6 feet in front of this 77-inch, I can't tell that much of a difference. Now, I don't like using deep learning super sample because I am actually sensitive enough to the eyes where I can see the drop in pixel density in trying to use a 4K upscaling technique. So I'd rather settle on QHD at this distance at maximum settings versus having 4K or a false 4K at maximum settings. Hopefully that makes sense, but let's test this out. All right, so we're gonna go down to the options and we're gonna go down to graphics. Now, what was happening before I go here is that QHD just didn't work. It works on 4K at 144 Hertz. You'd have to turn the TV on 120 Hertz to get QHD, which defeats the purpose of what I explained in the prior transition. Let's go to display and graphics. Okay. So we have 2560 by 1440. That is an option. We have the monitor refresh rate at 144 Hertz, which we can see right here. Let's try to enable this. Give the TV a little bit of time to load, to reset itself, and let's just see if everything's working. No, it is still not working. Unfortunately, this is still not a fix. This has given us an ultra wide aspect ratio, so that is not adjusted. Let's see if I can change the refresh rate down to 120 Hertz. Let's go ahead and let it do its thing. Letting it load. We're going to do this all in real time here. And there you can see we do have a full 16:9 aspect ratio. However, we're limited to 120 Hertz. So this may not be understood, but I'm going to say this again. Playing in 144 Hertz, the higher the refresh rate, the lower latency you're going to get. I do have an RTX 3090. So some might ask again, why would I want to play in QHD? It's because I am sensitive enough to where I can see the textures. So I like to play in what's called max settings. It's the highest graphical preset you can get. So being able to play in QHD and 144 gets me the lowest latency. Unfortunately, I can play QHD in 16:9 at 120 Hertz. I'm not talking about going to NVIDIA control panel and doing a custom setting. I should be able to adjust this just like here in real time. However, it is dope that I can now change it because prior to this update, I didn't even have 2560 by 1440 as an option. We had 2560 by 1600 as an option, which pretty much gets us that ultra wide aspect ratio that you've seen in 144 Hertz. So while this isn't the fix that I needed, at least they did modify it to the point where, what is possible could be read. So let's move on forward to talk about the Samsung S95B from last year. All right, so let's just talk about the Samsung S95B. This is going to be more so like desk vlogging content. And the reason that I'm incorporating this into this video is because it kind of ties into me updating that new TV, the S95C. Now, there's a couple of content creators that, have spoken about the brief but recent, sale of the S95B. I think it was on Amazon. The TV went as low as like $1,000, which is a great deal. I don't make content in the space where I really talk about like what deals are going to be great. Maybe it's, kind of a niche that I should look into because those videos typically do pretty well. As sometimes you get people that just search like for great bargains for TVs. My space of doing TV reviews are more from like the organic space of things, which is why I don't do a lot of holistic reviews. I don't offer, reviews on televisions as soon as they come out, just because things like that. Like if I review the S90C already, I've had the TV since like I was the first one on YouTube showing it. From an ownership perspective, if I had reviewed the TV and then showed you all the issues that I did show early on with the TV, then, you'd be led to believe that the TV never got fixed or addressed. Well, these companies do come out with firmware updates and sometimes they fix things and sometimes, they always fix things, but sometimes they do it in a way where we feel like, as consumers, that we don't get the same benefits or perks or the enjoyable experience that we got when we initially, got the TV. I digress. The S95B is a TV that I personally, and this is not to like really talk about any of my brothers that make content on YouTube. I think we all do a really good job in our own space of doing things the way that we do, but it's not a TV that I would recommend anybody. I mean, I've said it before. I said it when I had it in this same space that I had the G3, which, by the way, I'm an S95B owner. I've had that TV since day one. Listen, if it's hot and I really like it, I'm going to be on it. I'm going to be like the guy to have it first, just because that's just the space that I'm in and have been for a very long time with TVs. That TV right now is currently being used by my 4-year-old daughter, and it's a fantastic TV. In 55-inch first, you'd have to consider, is that TV even a TV that you would consider? Now, to me, that does still come out, the S95B, as being one of the best gaming TVs that you can have. You got a lot of people that might be looking for the TV to be more centric of all purpose in the space of watching movies, sports, and I think it does a great job. The problem with the S95B is that it's not the same TV that it was from when I bought it, when it first came out, and from a lot of content creators and people that praised it so well. It isn't that TV anymore, and it out of the box can't ever be that TV. Now, that aside, there are service menu opportunities. You can jump down that rabbit hole, and that takes you down to being able to modify it. That's not why people buy TVs. The vast majority scope of people that buy televisions buy them so that out of the box, they can have a great potential. And it does have a great potential. It's just that when you watch reviews on the TV, you have to take it with a grain of salt, because it's not the same TV that it was when those TVs or when that model was reviewed initially. So for $1,000, even though the TV is actually $1,200, when it was $1,000, in my opinion, I'd say that it's still not that great of a deal, because guess what? You can save up a few $100 and you can go after another TV that's going to be better for 2023. A TV like the S90C, which is, in my opinion, the direct replacement for the 95B. Maybe the G3, or maybe, you can go into getting yourself, I don't know, any other kind of TV that you might be more interested in. We know Sony options are going to be, more expensive. So going after the A95K and 55-inch might not be the best. Your selection should be made on what's going to be best for your lifestyle. Is the TV large enough? How do you plan on using the TV? I can tell you now, as a gaming TV, the S95B, in my opinion, fails in comparison to the C2 or the G2 from last year. The C2 was my favorite TV, and I had it in the space that was next to where I have the G3, which right now I still have the A95K. We're going to be putting the S90C back there. I digress. I enjoyed the C2 so much because it was a gaming TV. I bought it in 55-inch, and I hooked up an NVIDIA 3090 Ti at first, but it became a 4090 graphics card. And the G-Sync and VRR was just so flawless on that TV. It was a better experience than what the S95B could offer. I didn't care about picture pop because I used it in the space of being a gaming TV. It's the same reason that, to me, the G3 is the best gaming TV overall, because picture quality can't always be everything but how a TV performs. That aside, the S95B takes us down this rabbit hole of, being the most recent TV that concerns the general viewership of people that look into TV reviews, with the intentions of trying to get help for them. You see all the different things that change with that TV. It makes you not like a company like Samsung, which to me, the S95C is such a fantastic TV. It's one that you got to consider if you want the best overall TV. You'd be afraid to do things like what I did in this video, which was update the TV to get better out of it. The reasoning, again, is because, the S95B started as one thing and it ended as something else. I don't think it's a TV that you consider. That's coming from a day one owner that did get the TV exchanged 3 times because there was physical bins in the TV. So there was physical QC issues there. Even if you went and looked at displays in a multitude of different TV manufacturers, or retailers, not manufacturers, but retailers, you've seen that there were physical imperfections. There were just a lot of different things with that TV that just wasn't great. I really feel like the S95B was a prototype for the S90C because that is such a better TV. And yes, it does cost more because guess what? It's a better TV. The OS is faster in it. The variable refresh rate works better in it. The 144 hertz is by default set up. And by the way, the same issues that I had with the 95C that I shared in this video were the same with the 90C. So I'll be upgrading my 90C. And when I get it back in front of, you know, where I'm sitting next to my G3, I'll have a better gaming experience. At this point, I feel like I'm ranting, but hopefully you just kind of get the gist of it. So far, the 12.05 update from the S95C on the Samsung has offered me one change that is a nice quality of life change. But the QHD is still not working at 144 hertz. I don't think it's a widespread enough thing that people talk about. And I also just wanted to kind of chime in on the S95B. I don't think it's a TV you should stay away from. I just feel like you can save up a little bit more. If you've waited all this time, it's more than a year old. Why can't you wait another paycheck or 2 or 3 or 4 and just put more with it and get you an actual better TV? I just think that's like the most realistic thing you can get. I don't need to, you know, point you to any content I shot on the TV. All the stuff is shot on chronological order. You know, we ball out, we get the TVs when they're first and we put them on the wall and we put them where they're going to go and they sit there. And then when it's time for me to rotate them out, guess what? My 7 and 4-year-old, they get a C2 and S95B, and that's just how it goes with me around here. I'm going to catch you guys on the next video. Peace, God bless, and as always, tell y'all, max love.